to a child. And just because children start school doesn't mean that they don't want their parents' appreciation, attention, and approval. Kids just want to be exactly like their parents. They want to do what they do. They want to do what they do when they grow up. They want to be like them. They really just want their appreciation and just their attention. There are two types of kids in school. The ones whose parents are like super involved and always there and always bring things to class, and the others who are really just mainly focused on jobs and just doesn't have the time to be involved in their schooling. Tonight we're going to talk about the two kinds of parent involvement in children. Oh my gosh. Tonight we're going to talk about the two sides of parent involvement in children education. The first one is the reasons for non-involvement. A lot of time parents don't have the time, or a lot of different things can go into parents just not being able to be involved. Another thing we're going to go over is the reasons to be involved. So why you should take the time to be involved in your kids' education. The third thing we're going to talk about is ways to be involved. There are so many different ways that parents can be involved than just the normal ways that parents usually think of. First, let's talk about why people are not involved in their kids' schooling. First is usually just time. A lot of parents don't have time. You can think about single mothers and they're working more than one job, so they especially don't have the time. Some people have more than one kid, multiple kids. Some have blended families, so they have either grandparents living with them. Some don't have parents at all. So there's just so many situations to where a child doesn't have that parent guardian involved in their schooling because of time. Another thing is work. Parents have to work. They have to be able to pay for everything that happens. So this is something that they a lot of the time put a lot of focus into. So they go to work, they get off at 5:30, they get home at 6, they cook dinner, put their kids to bed, and they don't really spend a lot of time talking about education or really being involved in their education. Another thing that can sometimes take over is personal time and personal things. Girls' nights, guys' nights, just choosing those little things over making sure you've had that time with your child about their education. Another thing, the little things that a lot of people don't think about is just money. It is very expensive to be involved in your children's education just because either you're missing work, so you're not getting paid for those hours that you're supposed to be there, or you're just missing things like that, or you're spending money on making things for the class and volunteering and just so much other stuff that money can be involved. Also, another thing is just the drive, really the want to. A lot of parents don't see the reason to really be involved, especially when their kids are older in middle school and high school. They think they're independent and they don't really feel the need to be there. Most parents want to be involved in their kids' education, but let these things get in the way. Next, we're going to talk about the reasons why parent involvement is so important. One of the main things that parent involvement can really change are the kids' grades. According to Michigan.gov, they did a big study in a bunch of their public schools, and out of all the parents who were involved, 72% of the kids had higher grades than the other children, which really it just shows that these parents, the more they're involved and care about their kids' education, the kids mimic what their parents are doing. They mimic them wanting to be involved in their own education. It gives the kids that motivation. If the parents are motivated when they get home from work to work on them with their schooling, or motivated to even take off work to go help with them in the classroom, then they're going to be motivated to make sure they're involved with their school and really working hard for their education. They also make great gains. They're not just kind of doing what they can to get by. They're going to try to impress their parents. They're going to try to impress teachers, the people that are really watching them and want them to succeed. They also see a lot of better behavior, a lot less attentions, less, situations at school because they're getting that attention. They're getting attention from their parents because they're doing what their parents want them, so there's a lot of gratitude, a lot of stuff happening there when the parents are just giving them that attention for their education. It also helps the family come together. If you have a weekend or even a day off, maybe just taking your kid to all these great places like floating the Buffalo River around here and going over fun facts about Arkansas history, that can really connect with what they might be learning at school, especially if you know what they're learning at school. Just bringing the family together, doing fun things, and involving their education, that way they know it's important to you. Parent involvement is very important to children doing their best in school, but where do they start and how can they do it? According to childtrends.com in 2016 survey, 92% of students in kindergarten through 2nd grade and 90% of students in 3rd through 5th grade had a parent attend a school parent-teacher conference, which is pretty normal. People want to be involved in their kids when they're in elementary school. But compared with the 73% of middle school students and 58% of high school students, which is literally half of the kids in a high school, made it to a parent-teacher conference. Elementary school is so much easier to be involved in. We're going to talk about elementary school first for a little bit. There are so many things that a parent can do. They can spend time at homework with the little things that, of course, the parent knows, reading, writing, ABCs, that stuff. And there's always themes at school, volunteer stuff going on, fun stuff going on, so it's not hard for them to find something to do and be involved with, and it's not really that hard. It's elementary. So the things that you can do at elementary are, according to care.com, one of the best things that parents can do is be a homeroom mom or a homeroom parent. And they usually have them once a week, or sometimes they're monthly, and they just kind of switch out. So that way the parent can really be involved in the classroom, making things for the classroom. They also can help with the little things like reading AR books at home to them when they go to bed, or going over spelling words. So that way the kid doesn't feel like they have to do it all by themselves. I mean, they're only 7 or 8. They really still need your help on this stuff. According to edsource.com, being involved with children's education at home is just as important as being involved in middle school as actually in school. Next, we're going to talk about middle school and high school. Now, this is a time where a lot of parents feel that push from their kids to stay out of their lives, let them do their own thing. But this is such a huge time where parents really need to be more involved in this education, because if they start laying off, then the kids are going to notice that they don't care about their education. They don't care that what they're learning, so they're not going to care as much either. So the first thing that you can do are the mains. Go to ball games, support them in their ball games, or even volunteer at the cashier or something like that, taking money. It's really just being there and letting them know that you care, that you're going to take your time to be there for them. Another thing is fundraisers. There are so many fundraisers in high school that it really is just kind of takes the fun out of it to come home as a high school student and feel like you have to do this all by yourself. You're going to have to go to these people, ask them awkwardly to pay for this stuff that they probably don't need. And if you made it something fun around the family that everybody could do, it's going to make that student feel very less uncomfortable. Another thing that is really, really huge in the high school is parent-teacher conferences. If you're checking your kids' grades and talking to those kids' teachers, then they're going to know that you mean business. They know that you care about their education. But if you're not having these conferences, you're not talking to them, and you don't even know what their grades are, they're not going to care either. They need that motivation and that just help from you guys to know that you're there for them and that you're supporting them on what they do. Another little thing is just classroom speaking. Ask the teacher if you want them to come and talk about something that you do. A lot of the things that these kids are going to high school with are jobs that they're going to be working one day, so coming in and talking about it isn't going to hurt a thing. Parents have to choose to be involved in their child's education, and really should, because of the great things it can do for their child. Tonight I told you about the reasons for non-involvement, reasons to be involved, and ways to be involved. According to Miss Valines, a teacher at Bergman High School, states, "I wish more parents cared what their children are learning and doing throughout the day. It would really change things." If you want the best for your child, then parent involvement in education is your answer. Now, for my visual tonight, we're going to look at a blog that parents can also use. And that's it. This is where you can find information and just get information about the classroom. If your teacher doesn't have one, you can usually ask them. They usually have a website or an email that they send out weekly.